Hi there, Scott Hamilton, Rockfile, back with another podcast review, this time of a PC game, Phoenix Point. If you're a fan of turn-based tactics strategy games, this will be your cup of tea. If not, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you might want to tune out now. It may be boring. For those that don't know, a turn-based strategy game has always been like a game of chess. Back in the mid-90s, early 90s, 94 I guess was the first, Julian Gollop created this game called XCOM. It had different names around the world, but XCOM UFO Defense was what it's called. And you got this demo on a floppy, and it was one mission on a farm map. You look at the thing as a, one of those, not top-down, but like an isometric view of the grounds and the areas, but you can only see what your guys can see, and as you move them around the map, it unlocks, opens up more of the map because they can see it. And you will have you do these missions and there are aliens hiding in the darkness, and then when you see them, they shoot you. And you have to give everybody, they have a certain amount of points. As they get stronger, they get more points, and they use their points versus moving, use their points to move versus shooting. Like you can move a long distance, or you can move a short distance and shoot, or you can shoot an aim shot, that kind of thing. So games that are called turn-based, some of the most popular, XCOM, Civilization, these are games that the good guys, or the one side takes a turn, and then the other side takes a turn, like a chess match. And one side in this particular game moves all of their pieces, and then the other side moves theirs. So XCOM quickly became my favorite game of all time. I was also very much in love with Doom and a few other things at the time, and Civilization as well is one of my all-time favorite games, because I find these games infinitely replayable. With Civilization, I can set up a new world and pick a different ruler and play that from Stone Age to Space Age, and it's a different game every time. XCOM and its sequels and remakes over the years basically have randomly generated maps. So you play a game a little bit differently every time, and you don't know what you get when you land on this map. Another component to XCOM was you had to build a base with the money you earn from doing the missions by selling the parts and doing research and things like that and helping people. You got bigger budgets, you could build a base, then you hire more soldiers. Then when a UFO comes, you shoot down the UFO and your soldiers leave the base to go on the mission, and that becomes the tactical part of the game, the chess match. And you finish a mission, hopefully all your guys survive, you bring them back to the ship, you fly them back to their base, they heal, they rest, and you sell the goodies, and you continue that, building bases and growing to either save the planet or not. So all that background was to tell you that Julian Gollop got into some other things for a while, and now he is part of Snapshot Games and has made a new game called Phoenix Point. It's basically a successor to the XCOM games. It is the same type of game, but a different idea. The world, through global warming, unleashed a virus, probably an alien virus, and it's mutating monsters into things you have to deal with. But the same principles. You build bases, your soldiers get stronger, they go do missions, you come back from the missions, you sell the stuff, you research stuff, and the game progresses. I was an early, I think it was Kickstarter, backer for this. I trusted him to make a decent game. I got an early release of the game. I've been playing it for a while. They finally released it at first on computers back in December of last year, 2019. And they promise it will be on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One this year. And we're still waiting. Obviously, a lot of things have played into that. But the idea is basically the same, to take that kind of turn-based and base-building blend of game and do it this way. So it's a spiritual successor to XCOM, not a sequel or anything like that. It's definitely not XCOM. I did see all the warts and all throughout the process of the early release of the game. And when it was released in December, I enjoyed the game, but it was missing a few things. And I am a huge gamer. I love playing games, but I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a game developer. I can't sit down and go, well, this wasn't fun because it took me too long to do this. Or, after playing something for a long time, you start to realize what the chinks in the armor are. But I remember first playing it going, this is great. The graphics are good. Everything's destructible. It looks good. It plays well. It moves fast on my computer. With each update, it's gotten stronger and more solid. And then recently they released the Cthulhu update, which I believe is update number 5 or 6. It's a major update. I have seen with some modern computer games, if you buy a copy of the game, they will update it forever. And when the games first come out, they're just okay. But a year or two later, they're incredible. I'm not going to mention any names in this review, but I have reviewed other things. And I'll leave it at that. That games that truly became great later and rewarded us for our patience with their growing pains over the years or whatever. Phoenix Point is definitely one of those games because this new update, while not a major overhaul, it is a major overhaul behind the scenes. When they named it Cthulhu, I'm like, all right, they're going to add some missions and stuff. And then I started playing the game, and the first thing I noticed is the whole game starts differently. And I'm like, okay, this is different. You get into things faster, it moves faster, it's easier to play. Like I said, I don't have a list of specific, there is a long list of things they changed. But this is an update where I can finally say, this is a great game. I will go back and play older XCOMs because none of the sequels, remakes, or whatever are as fun. XCOM 1 and 2 that was made by Firaxis, which is the company that also makes the Civilization games now, those are really good remakes, and they're available on PS3 and PS4 and Xbox One. They're really good games and really good versions. I still don't, I still love the first two. And it's hard to, it's like a great album from your childhood. You really can't beat it. But as remakes go, the modern versions of XCOM 1 and 2 are great. They're really enjoyable. I've played them for hundreds of hours, and I like them. Like I said, Phoenix Point is trying to be something different, is taking the XCOM idea into a different direction, and I like it. I really like it now with the latest update. So if it's something you downloaded on your PC back in December and you went, because all of us buy things on Steam or Epic Games or whatever, and we play them a little bit, and then we uninstall them, and we wait for them to get better, and then maybe you come back to them, and maybe you don't. I'm posting this review because I think you should go back to it now. I know there are more updates to come. They're still going to do these ports into the consoles, and I think this update has now gotten it to a level where it will be successful on a console. Maybe that's why we got this update, that they're finally streamlining things enough that, when Firaxis took like Civilization to the consoles, they kind of dumbed them down a little bit because Civilizations are quite complex games on the PC. XCOM and Phoenix Point are fairly complex, but they moved XCOM ported to video game consoles very well. It wasn't dumbed down really at all. And Phoenix Point, I think, has gotten to that point where it's not going to be much different in its console form other than the controller you use than how it works in the PC. But I started playing it the moment I got the update, and it's been something I play at night, like before bed for an hour or so. So I'm not heavily into it, but I immediately noticed the differences. And I immediately noticed that it's a much more fun game to play. So if you think that idea of I take my soldiers on a journey, we go through various missions that are all randomly generated, and then we come back and we get stronger as we go and we get better weapons and we learn. If you want to, tackle a complex simulation of what that would be like, that's still fun to play, give Phoenix Point a try. It's definitely not a full game price on computer on whatever site you download it on. I'm still getting in my updates through Epic because that was how Kickstarter did, when you got the first key to download early access. I assume it's available on other things. I see that it's coming to even Mac. Wow. So anyway, if you're into turn-based strategy games and turn-based tactic games and you have a PC that can run it, it doesn't take a truly badass PC. Mine is very modest by today's standards and runs it quite nicely. Check out Phoenix Point. PC Gamer's original review is 77%, and that was back in December. I would say with the latest update, they would probably up that. And I would definitely give it a 4 out of 5, if not a 4.5. Let me get a little bit farther along when I actually finish the game, because I've never, in any incarnation since December, finished a full game of this, because I always get an update and want to start over and play with the latest updates, and I really like the Cthulhu update. So check it out, Phoenix Point. It's available on most of the major services. Will be coming to consoles soon. If you like this kind of game, it's finally a good one. I'm Scott Hamilton. I'm Rockfile. My website is therockfile.com. I've got links to all sorts of other things down below. Please visit them. If you like them, sorry, I almost belched. Honest and live, that's how these podcasts go. If there's anything you see down there, whether it's my dogs or the radio stations or the cannabis thing or whatever, if you want to follow those things, please feel free to do so. You're more than welcome to share the love of all this stuff, because that's what I'm here for. Positive podcast and reviews of things I like. Things I don't like, you don't need to hear about, right? So, Phoenix Point, go buy this game if you're a PC gamer. I think it's pretty badass, and kind of gory animations too are fun. I'm Scott Hamilton. Thank you so much for listening.